Thank you, Sarah. Yes, testing times in Coventry, one of the most traditional, historic and successful clubs, of course, trying to navigate the choppiest of waters. Wasps in limbo right now. They're facing an uncertain future. And so once again, we're talking about the rugby itself providing a distraction this afternoon for the players, for the coaches, and of course these loyal fans. So a gloomy financial backdrop and a late couple of selection setbacks too. Vincent Koch due to make his debut today, out with illness. John Ryan stepping in at tight head in his place. Joe Launchbury, we understand, leading the charge as ever from lock. Jack Willis at 7, but brother Tom has withdrawn with appendicitis. So Nizam Kar at number 8, Ben Morris onto the blind side. Dan Robson's back, starting again. That battle with Porter is a hotly contested one. Ryan Mills at 12, Berger Odendahl shifting out to 13, and Paolo Adogwu making a welcome first appearance of the season on the right wing. Saints boss Phil Dowson has had a testing time of it with injuries at loose head recently, but they are now able to call upon Alex Waller, fresh from a Premiership Cup cameo on Tuesday. Paul Hill is preferred at tight head this week, and Alex Moon drafted into the second row. Alex Coles moves onto the blind side. That back five given a little bit of a shake-up. Joano Augustus drops to the bench. Sam Graham will make his first Premiership start for Northampton at number 8. In the back division, inevitably the spotlight on Dan Biggar after his announcement on Friday. Ollie Slightholme on the left wing, and Matt Proctor returning to partner Fraser Dingwall in the midfield.
Well, one position that is blessed with talent in the Premiership this year is number 7, and two of the very best going head-to-head today. Both these sides like to play with freedom and lots of width, which means more opportunity for the poachers. Who comes out on top will have a big say in this game.
Ben talks about freedom. Well, so much of that is dictated by the number 9s. Mitchell, in arguably the form of his career at the moment, he's been watching Antoine Dupont videos because he's got that trail line, that support line down to a T at the minute. More of the same from him. Robson, bit of a mixed bag at the moment. Started early in the season, then has been dropped and relegated to the bench. Now another opportunity for him to showcase what he's capable of. All important for him to have a good game if Wasps are to go well.
So many extraordinary options at number 9 at the moment for England, of course, and today a great battle between those two, as we see the Wasps, who've had to endure another week of anxiety, some dark clouds, dark brooding clouds, and big old questions. Saints, questions of their own. They've been flashy. 1 win from 4 under the new boss Phil Dowson, superb in parts. Long periods against Irish, that first half against Tigers, the valiant second half against Quins, but as we know, patchy doesn't really cut it in this league, and whilst their best is just about better than anyone else's, that level of consistent performance has proved a little bit out of reach to date. Dan Biggar's news this week probably won't have helped their cause. His influence, of course, at Saints, very tough to quantify. So extensive has it been. A huge loss. His talent and experience, quite obviously, but I guess, Ben, it's his character, it's his drive, his hunger, his standards that they're going to really miss.
100%. And there will be, you know, he will have passed some of that on to the players. Obviously, there'll be a bit more room to manoeuvre with the salary cap because of his wages will be going. So they will be able to bring in players. But can you replace such a totemic figure, really? I mean, he is the conscience. I said it before the game. He's the conscience of the team. He is their drive. And what I've loved is he's completely changed his game to suit the tactics that his coaches want him to play.
Yeah, he's competitiveness personified, isn't he? And sometimes that boils over and he gets a bit argumentative. But you want that in your 10. You want him to care. And I think he's become a far more complete player here. I think he's improved. Looking back to that disappointing Lions tour 2017, he didn't get selected for the Test series. I think he's really come on, and not many players played their best rugby into their 30s, but it feels like he's doing that right now.
So another meeting on Tuesday for Lee Blackett and his coaching staff, all the players. The CEO, the COO brought them in to chat to them about the situation, more talk of interested buyers and the very real risk of administration. And we know the players' response at Bath a fortnight ago when this initially surfaced was magnificent, wasn't it? Joe Launchbury at the heart of that. They were defiant, they were hugely impressive, but they've got to summon that spirit all over again. So a big challenge for the Joe Launchbury leadership. They can focus on the task in hand, as we've said in the last couple of weeks, haven't we, Ben? Sometimes the rugby the best thing to provide them with that opportunity.
Absolutely. Time they can forget about everything and concentrate on what they want to do.
Saints with the benefit of some early ball from the restart, and Alex Coles trundles forwards, and a first penalty of the game awarded to Northampton.
He dragged him to ground, didn't release him, and ripped the ball.
Launchbury not releasing in the tackle.
Yes, bad compounding of an error with the second one within a number of seconds. You know, initially not able to take the kick off. Might just keep an eye on Joe Launchbury, not moving overly easily. Looked as though he was struggling in the warm-up. Will he get to play through a half even? We'll have to wait and see, but an error from the captain giving Northampton a great early opportunity 10 metres out.
Matavesi picks out Moon at the tail, and they're off and running through Matavesi. Terrific surge forwards and great pressure early on here for the Saints. Salakai Lotto is not too far away, the ball is stolen, and possession is with Wasps now. O'Gray at the heart of that defensive effort.
It's huge for Wasps, that from O'Gray, because they're actually really slow to react off the defensive line. You can see how slow Adogwu was to get up. That gave them a little bit of momentum. They were taking it, Northampton, and then look at the speed that he latches in on the ball. No chance of losing that battle, and he comes up with a huge turnover play.
First start this season for Gabe O'Gray, and of course we know he's been used in the back row a fair bit by Lee Blackett. He is no stranger to the jackling process. There's a good foot inside the playing surface there as he releases that ball for the line out. Wasps in possession though. Robson. This one for Adogwu. Probably would have been after a little bit more distance upfield. Saints regather, and here's Ludlam. Bundle. It's a very well-timed tackle. Salakai Lotto. Bigger.
Inside here, stop in front.
Testing out that Wasps backfield. Up goes Umanga, and he did the hard bit early on and then spilt it, and it's been
interesting
forwards.
Umanga has struggled a bit with aerially, played really well against Bath, but they did test him with those high balls, and immediately we've seen Dan Bigger with a couple of big launches to the sky, just testing out that Wasp backfield.
Yeah, just wonder, was there a small little nudge on him just as he was catching it? It felt as though he never properly had it. Enough of a challenge in the air that isn't going to bring it to the attention of the referee, but enough interference just to take him off his balance and not give him a clean catch. Again, another great launch opportunity for Northampton. We don't get to see too many launch plays from scrum these days, but looking at the setup, again, if there's a square scrum, depending on what Dan Robson does at scrum half, does he go back in the boot by number 8, which is what he's going to do. If he does that, they've got to come to the open field.
Stay on Dan, stay behind the ball, stay.
Bigger edging across, and that is what happens as he puts it in front of Proctor, and there's a little bit of space here for Slightholme to exploit. Mitchell swiftly into position. Here's Ludlam, shut down by Willis, who was responsible for that really big shot in the midfield a moment or two ago that we saw the replay of. Matavesi again, ever reliable in the carry. Strong work rate, strong punch through the gain line. This is Moon. And this time it's Nizam Khan looking to get over the top of it, but he's come off his feet. And they're not rolling away from the tackle area, and that should be 3 straightforward points should they take them.
Dan, Mark's here if you want it.
We always talk about the player jackling being aware of what the tackler's done. That was quite difficult for Nizam Khan because he arrived at such a similar time to the tackler. Wouldn't have necessarily known that Launchbury's stuck
Lads,
in
you
there.
have to drop back a bit, please.
But absolutely the right decision. He does prevent the clear out.
Dan Bigger notches 3 for Northampton. Just a reminder at the late disruption for Wasps. Tom Willis suffering with appendicitis. So Nizam Kar, who was due to be on the blind side, moving to number 8. Ben Morris coming in on the blind side. And
Make sure you stay behind
similarly, a very big disruption in that front row. Vincent Koch, the South African World Cup winner, due to be on the tight head today and had a late withdrawal through illness. Very well claimed by Salakai Lotto. Had an excellent second half in particular against Quins.
Okay, use it.
Mitchell.
Outside,
And,
lads.
a questionable bind onto the ruck. I just wonder if referees are going to start having a closer look at that. We saw it numerous times yesterday with Gloucester, just leaning on the player in front of you to extend the caterpillar. Here's Morris for Wasps.
Advantage.
Robson
Slow the play.
finding a penalty there, and Umanga looking to drop it through and chase.
Second man there, he's offside.
Yeah, he was playing with a freebie, wasn't he? He thought he'd go for broke with the little nudge through. Reasonable opportunity because Mitchell wasn't in that little chip line. So if it did manage to make its way through, he had all his support pouring in after it. Shot to nothing, an opportunity to kick for a penalty and another launch.
That was really well milked from Dan Robson because it didn't actually stop him playing. He just hesitated long enough just to make sure the referee had seen that he had been put off, but actually that little delay stops the defensive line from going forward. There, little show to the referee, I can't play, and then it's up and away
Outside that.
in case there's any advantage.
Gray, and it's tidied by Launchbury, but not straight in the first place.
Option. Scrum option. Let's go. Nice, yeah. So the space is really good
out
this
at the
side
moment,
between you
so
guys. It's your
Augrey
side that's a bit close. But
looking
we
to
still-
seize
it's
his
good
opportunity.
patience, so
Dan Frost back on the bench,
just work on that space
having
this side. But
happily
really good
recovered
dribble. There we
from
go.
his injury.
Same again, lads.
And an area that Wasps no doubt will have spoken about, Northampton, who seem to shore up their scrum a good bit against Quins, having been taken apart obviously in that second half against the Tigers.
Crouch. Bind. Both sides. Lads, it might seem like you're settled that side, but not everyone is settled. That's why I'm waiting, okay? Let's go again.
Both
Just
sides
waiting for
went in,
everyone to
both
settle a
sides
little bit,
were happy.
Just don't preempt the call, lads.
Just got to call the bind a little bit earlier there. Especially an early scrum, everyone's keen to get off the mark.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Better stability this time around, and the squeeze is on from Northampton, and they won the penalty here. Paul Hill accepting those plaudits.
Number 3 across the squad.
We've spoken to Matt Ferguson a few times in the last few weeks, where he's spoken about the need for that 8 to try to stay in the fight as long as possible at scrum time, Ben.
Absolutely, but just Ryan there, just guilty of trying to force the issue, just coming across the scrum right in front of the referee.
Lovely ball from Coles, Bigger to Ludlam.
This is the one where Bigger loves to flash it across to his wing when he gets it back.
Here he is again, and Furbank brought in. Thumping hit from Umanga. Moon, little tip on. Rumbling forwards is Sam Graham, his first Premiership start this afternoon. That looked miles forwards from Alex Waller, hoping nobody noticed.
Referee could not have been closer to him as well. If ever he thought he was going to get away with it. But you know, it's funny, teams are Creatures of habit, as we see the replay. He didn't even try
It's not his fault. Hill has to be slightly deeper. Hill's forced him. Yes, he should have held onto it.
Same balance on their ball.
Hill's overrun him. He's just a fraction of a second deeper there, and Hill's clearing through.
We talk about teams being creatures of habit. You know, that was the last line-out play, one of the tries they scored against Leicester early on. When you've had success from it, you go back to it time and time again, because even though teams know you're coming at you with a particular play, you still have to try and defend it, and then you have some version or variation to go to as well.
Carter Robson, slight change of plan as Atkinson flashes it left and Odendahl's on his way. The South African bruising runner really providing a focal point for Wasps in their midfield this season. Oh, Carr straight through, lovely delay on that pass, and the support line is excellent. Of course it is, from Jack Willis.
That's a lovely try from Wasps. First real bit of attacking bite that they've had all game, and no problems in finishing off opportunities so far today. But Northampton really guilty of looking back after this initial break from Odendahl. He gives them that go forward, but guilty of looking back towards the breakdown. Too many people all focused in on one player, and it's a lovely ball, lovely little pump pass from Atkinson to draw Coles out of the line onto him, create that half dog leg that Carr then can go through. And once he's broken, you know that Jack Willis is going to be on his shoulder, and it's a simple case of 2-on-1.
2-on-1 for Wasps and 2-in-2 for Jack Willis. A try against Bath, and on target here today. Umanga slots the 2, and Wasps, after 11 minutes, move in front by 7 points to 3.
The width is good, but just a little bit too much between Coles and Salakai Lotto. Just not aware of what's going on inside him. The amount of numbers there that Coles had to deal with.
Restart just stabbed on its way this time, and it's worked out nicely for Mitchell, who's running into trouble. Coles, the referee, happy to let play continue. No obstruction in his eyes. Coles again. Bigger, was that forwards? Flat at best. Mitchell. Bigger. Furbank. Oof. Carlo and Ogre a little higher. Here they come again. This time to the boots of Bigger. Across comes Umanga, and Slightholm ushers him sideways.
They just need to take the sting out of Wasps, don't they? Just keep some pressure on down here in the tail of the game, apart from that one try.
Coles again providing lovely line-out ball, and there's an excellent bit of work in the midfield here for Proctor to provide the target. Ludlam, really quick ruck ball here for Mitchell. Slowed up a little bit this time around, but the momentum firmly with Northampton. Another excellent surge forwards from Salakai Lotto. Furbank.
Advantage. Offside.
Assistance from Dingwall with a penalty advantage here. Coles spiralling round. They've got a man down. Looks like Morris, who's injured, and the blast on the whistle as a consequence.
Got his head in completely the wrong position.
Side of the tackle.
That's clear, no foul play then.
Went for the fast chop tackle, line speed, and slight step from the attacking player, and his head just gets caught on the wrong side. Goes straight down.
No, it's your penalty. No, you're just over here.
Not a case for the HIA.
Just tell us when you're
Clearly just goes straight down, bangs the side of his head on the hip. So
there was no
they've had a lot of disruption.
He's a Wasp player then.
A lot of disruption to their forward pack already, Wasps. There's going to be another change here.
Yeah, big disruption on the day, and quite a lot of disruption beforehand as well, as we see Kieran Curran preparing to come on. He wasn't expected to be part of the 23 today. No Tom Willis, as we've mentioned, no Brad Shields, and no Alfie Barbary. Those two very significant absentees.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So already, even at this early stage in the season, there is Alfie Barbary.
I know you're swapping numbers and I know you want the tempo.
The resources just being stretched.
I'll let you play as fast as you want, but you've got to let them know. Thanks, mate.
Really unfortunate timing as well for Barbary, who has had some hamstring issues. Not going to be seen for a few months at this point.
Yeah, I think it's
really hoping this would be the
the
season that he burst forth into England ranks.
I think we're getting some pretty good, stable people.
Brian, you've been having a look at that try.
Yeah, taking us a little while to put this together. We couldn't quite get the angle we were looking for, but the spacings between defenders 3 and 4 is 9 or 10 metres, which is just way too big. You pile 3 runners through that space, flooding through support lines, you're going to have an absolute field day. So we're talking about trying to get width in defence, but you've got to have proper spacings, 2-3 metres between each defender. Knock-on effect that you get decent enough width. If you have 9 metres between 2 defenders, that is going to invite anyone into that space.
So good to see Willis enjoying his rugby again, isn't it, Ben, after the trials that he went through with those
no foul play.
2
clearly
ACL injuries. You wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy.
No, absolutely. And as a result of that, understandably, it's going to take you a couple of weeks at least to get the security with the type of injuries he's had in his own body. He's going to be going into those first few jackal situations going, oh, I've done all the rehab, but is it going to hold when pressures come in from all angles? And over the last few weeks, he's really just rediscovered that threat that he possesses. If you watch him, how he plays, that Wasps almost give him a free rein to glide in behind the defensive line. So as soon as it goes out of his channel, he just floats in behind, and then every single tackle he'll target and come in late, but before the support players. And that's why he's such an effective threat. He's also very, very flexible, so he'll get almost into a splits position, which means he can get lower than other people, and is quite happy staying down there.
Well, Ben Morris will be helped off the field, we hope, sooner rather than later, so Curran can look forward to a big old stint in the back row from here. Just a reminder that we're supporting the Pakistan floods appeal here on BT Sports, so if you are able to support it, we would be enormously appreciative of that. They are devastating the country at the moment. Vast areas of land are affected, and huge numbers of people, up to 6 million people. So if you could text BT Sport, all one word, to 70000 and donate £10, your donation could be life-saving. Thank you.
Just worth a mention, talk about Kieran Curran, you know, he obviously probably knew he was coming in earlier on today, but the reality is you put yourself in the headspace all throughout the week to get yourself primed for playing in a game. You're the 23rd, 24th, 25th man, and then all of a sudden you're going to be playing 70-odd minutes. It's a completely different
the
mentality you have to deal with. Right?
I think the hardest thing is for the whole line-out, because they will have run sets with the reserves, they will have run lots of sets with the starting team. They probably won't have run a huge amount of sets with guys that weren't meant to be involved at all, and everyone's got slightly different timings, slightly different ways of lifting, and just getting that combination right is the hardest thing. He'll be fine, he'll run around, do what he does on the pitch, but how he works with other players who he hasn't trained much with this week will probably be crucial.
Fairbank hammered in the tackle by Odendahl. Have a word with Matt Ferguson, the Saints scrum coach, in a little while, as we see how they extricate themselves from the 22 here. Mitchell staying in field and well claimed in the end, but the chase was not timed in the way that Adam Leal wanted it, and that is a big setback for Saints.
Big shout this. They're going to go for the corner, are they? Atkinson's first thought.
Done.
They are. They haven't had much time down in the 22. They're happy to go for broke here, come away with nothing, and maybe a huge psychological blow of 14 points from two entries into the red zone.
Second time inside the 22, ball in hand, and in very different fashion from the first time that resulted in the Willis score. O'Gray to the skipper, to Launchbury. Body positions, Ben, looking strong at the back.
Yeah, just the back guys need to drop a little bit. Launchbury's fine. He's going to try and crack a hole for them to drive through. Just shift that big frame of his. They want to get off that touchline a little bit. Here comes Bassett to try and assist, but the referee tells him to use.
O'Gray smuggles it to Robson.
Advantage.
And they're going to try to blast their way through the midfield. It's a really good effort to within 4 metres.
Got a freebie.
The close range combat, knowing that they've got the penalty advantage.
Ball's there, you've got advantage, Dan.
O'Gray tips it on. Patience again as they reassemble. Launchbury wants it, just tries to fold around it. Another advantage being played here. Willis has only got to make half a metre, but he's got to clear all those arms and legs. Now then, a bit of width. Swung wide, Adogwu will charge in.
Brian was speaking before the game about the importance in the red zone of keeping your width and what that does to the defensive line. Adogwu has been stood on that touchline with his arms raised, waving for the ball for about 4 phases. And it's as soon as a couple of phases go short, create a bit of narrowness in the Northampton defence, and Atkinson backs himself to throw that big looping pass. Adogwu doesn't panic. He knows he's going to be under pressure, but he knows he's
tries good, Adam.
Come infield and created enough of an angle for him to have the pace to get into the corner. Well, we spoke about red zone efficiency a lot before this game. One team is being very efficient.
Well, there's another. It's good to see that smile back on a Premiership ground. He's had his own issues with injuries, hasn't he, Paolo Adogwu? Injuring his knee at the Gardens in May as this kick sails wide from Umanga. Wasps leading by 12 points to 6. Let's get a Northampton view on things from Matt Ferguson, the scrum coach. Matt, what's your assessment of the opening 18 minutes?
Oh, look, we put ourselves in that position there with a silly offside and then a couple of poor loose breakdowns, which allowed Wasps to capitalise on our attacking third as well. So ultimately, very much frustrated with our own performances. And
in terms of your own area of expertise, just the one scrum that I can remember of consequence. Are you satisfied that they're doing what they're needing to do in that department?
Yeah, I think we've had 2 keep up.
Sorry about that. Maths is never my strong point.
It's a real back to consistency for us. What we've shown in the last couple of weeks is when we're on it, we can perform. But probably like most areas of our game, it's the consistency of that performance and doing the same thing time and time again.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Matt.
Okay. Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
If it gets to 2, is it even maths?
Maybe not. That's poor on every front. Wasps here through Bassett and Carr, and a few little holes opening up. Big collision there as Willis tumbles forward through the challenge of Hill. Dan Bigger thought that was out. I
said it wasn't out. Thank you.
Temper's just bubbling a little bit.
Spiky, he knows he's in the wrong. He knows they're perfectly entitled to knock the ball out of his hands after the penalty's been given. It's a really good carry, this, from Willis. Wins the collision, pulls in a few extra bodies, just holding on the floor, Proctor, so he can't get in and clear the ball quickly, Robson. And then Dan Bigger comes round and says, well, the ball's out. Not sure the referee had even agreed that it was out, but...
Adam, 13 Northampton kept hold of Dan Robson for a second or 2 longer than he should have done after he tackled him.
Okay.
Umanga. Straight and true, and was for all the disruption. stretching their lead to 15 points to 6 after the opening quarter. Brian, you've been having another look at the build-up to the Dogwood score.
I just think sometimes on your exit you need to be brave. When players play, play soft, play off, they're not aggressive in the front line. You've got to go to hands and not just force your hand by kicking it high and kicking it away. And as a result, they gave away a penalty for being ahead of the ball. The knock-on effect is line out in the corner and a try a couple of minutes later. So play heads-up rugby. Don't just kick away possession and just because you've set up to do so.
Okay, use it, Dan.
Robson, tricky one for Furbank out of the sunlight. Takes it very well, tackled by Dogwu.
Oh, that's brilliant.
He's in there as well, but they're over the top.
Absolutely brilliant, because he actually gets ahead. He's running there as the jackler, 2 tacklers with him, but he actually gets it slightly wrong, but he swings his feet round, and then as he attacks the ball, watch what he does to the body of Furbank. He grips hold of the body so he can't be shifted off with that left arm, right arm on the ball. Perfect technique.
He's sort of dragging the entire breakdown with him, Brian.
Well, what you're doing is you're obviously using the momentum that you have and bringing it towards your area and taking it away from the ball carrier support as well. So it's actually a double negative
so
to them.
The defensive line, not the middle. I mark the defensive.
It's amazing the way he has that natural instinct, and I know it can be taught and people can practice it and improve week by week on this, but for him it's something that he does entirely instinctively.
But what's really clever about it is he doesn't go for every one. He picks and chooses moments where he realises he's got a viable chance of getting it.
Robson, Mills, oh dear, just overrun by Umanga. Was looking very promising at one point, and this time Saints have managed to dig themselves out.
That's a huge moment. This goes to hand. I think it's a try.
Adam, just to let you know,
and
I've lost
suddenly,
my delay screen for now.
Psychologically, a huge dent to a Northampton team that had just started to get on the back foot, but that ball goes to hand. I think they're going in as it goes behind him. Just watch this as they sweep round.
I don't know, Ben. I think Furbank comes in and is going to smash a man and ball, but I'd be pretty annoyed if I was a coach with the lack of body fight there from Atkinson. Was it Atkinson on that occasion who just gave up his opportunity to roll in extra time or really try and get north-south on his presentation?
Number 12, offside in attack.
It's gone against Fraser Dingwall, and there's been a little bit of chat, and Robson setting off, and
please give me a
Dan Bigger's desperate to play well today, and it's just starting to manifest itself.
So number 12, offside
where
in attack.
Someone might just, Alex Waller just going in, just saying, just calm down a bit, mate, we need you on the pitch. Don't upset the referee and get yourself yellow carded.
On the line, okay?
Well, shot to nothing. Going for the sticks from the halfway.
That's cool, Jackie.
He steps up quick there, Umanga. Here's the offence.
That's right, he starts to creep before the ball comes out.
So I've got to try and get the mark, you understand? Thanks, Dan.
Don't often see it going against the attacking side, but
It was the assistant referee called it as well, because if you look, the referee had his back to the encroaching player, and
I think it's a bit of both, but
good communication from the AOR.
He's given it a very healthy thwack, and he's landed it from 50 metres. Broad smiles for Jacob Umanga and for the Wasps supporters here this afternoon.
that decision's one of the more modern decisions, because traditionally you wouldn't have really looked at the attacking side. Great kick this from Umanga to take advantage of it, but the referees have been told to preserve the space on the pitch. So if you let the 12s go early on the attacking side, it means the defensive line are going to start creeping and going early. You're not going to get as much space on the field. So that's why it's important that these decisions are penalised.
Hislop drops the shoulder for Wasps.
okay, use it. 7, don't go until you're on. Okay.
Furbank takes it quick. Ludlam. Sized up by Ogre, who goes for the ankles. Salakai Lotto. Mitchell. Trying to tie in those defenders and then straighten. Working the ball as much as his legs. Coles gathers and Saints behind the gain line, and once more Wasps at the breakdown making hay.
Just Brian was talking before about how Jack Willis picks and chooses where he's going to jackal. Let's just have a little listen to what's upsetting Dan Bigger now. Might need to apologise in a second, Ali, haven't really. But just watch Nizam Kar on this first breakdown. He looks like he's going in to compete. He decides against it. It's on this one here, I think, is it? Yeah, in he goes, has a look, no, backs off. They commit 3 players to clearing that out. And then as it comes back to this side, they go back in. He's still standing in the same position. Clearly goes in and wins it. Brilliant from Carr, deciding when's it on, when's it not. But even when it's not on, can I force them to put extra bodies in to clear me out, knowing that I'm not going to be there by the time they arrive?
Can I? Yes, I don't mind if it all moves around a little bit, but just if I give you a starting point, it lets you know where you guys need to be, all right?
Ogre this time to Kieran MacDonald. The drive temporarily halted. It looks as if Ludlam might have just got an arm in there to make life complicated. Now it comes for Robson. The Dogwoo from a standing start. Launchbury. With some heavy fire, Moon in there. Atkinson now. Mills. There's McDonald.
Nearly straight offside again there, yeah, Northampton. They've already given away 3 offside penalties.
Atkinson again, this time trying to use John Ryan through the middle. The Dogwoo. Man on the outside, and a little nudge forward from Umaga, picked up by Furbank. Dingwall, change of plan.
Stop in front.
Bigger,
Carry back
looking
in.
for distance.
Well, he's been lucky he didn't get all of that kick, but it's bounced awkwardly.
Umaga
The chase not to match.
showed the ball, that was lovely, and Nizam Kar's beaten Ludlam on the outside as a right foot step, a left foot step, and a tumble forwards towards the 22. Wasps again on the front foot. Atkinson, Hislop. Ogre, the dummy runner this time. Umaga. Big intervention from Salakai Lotto. Back behind the gain line. Quick ball from Mills. That looked forwards. Out of the back of the hand this time from Odendal.
Yeah, just a little bit loose in that left-hand channel, aren't they, Wasps, at the moment? A couple of opportunities have gone begging. But how good is this from Nizam Kar? Late decision, throws the pass and he swerves on it. Get him on Strictly. Look at those feet, brilliant. Little hip swerve. Oh, filthy.
The only problem is when you do them 5 yards away from someone, they don't actually have to move. You got to do that a bit closer to the body to get any traction.
He's in his 3rd spell here now, Nizam Kar, having rejoined from the Bulls. Priceless over the years, filling in all across the back row.
Bind. Set. Okay, stay behind the ball. That's stationary. Use it.
Mitchell. Freeman brought in. We've not even mentioned his name yet. Such has been the possession that Northampton have had, and once again,
Leave
The breakdown decision goes Wasps' way, and Robson setting off. Brought down by Dingwall.
That's got to be advantage. Surely he didn't run at least 5 metres before the Northampton player encroached.
Almost undone by the speed with which he took it, wasn't he, Robson? I think he even potentially caught Adam Leal off guard as they move to that short side again.
Okay, use it.
Carr.
Okay, use it now. Time the chase.
Furbank. Great chase from Bassett, but he's held
Outside.
firm, Furbank.
Okay,
Fall
use
back
it.
for Wasps, though. They know this is coming.
One more trundle from their Australian international before
Okay,
Mitchell
use it.
takes charge with the boot.
They've actually got 5
you're
drifting
part of the
back now
ruck,
because the
wait until
Dogger's
you're put
just starting
onside.
to go early.
Okay, lads.
Atkinson. Well met by Freeman. Umaga. And Hislop. Robson. Umaga at first receiver. This is Mills. Sliding through, somehow evading the tackles.
Inside the
Robson trying to find that space in behind Furbank.
half. Wait, guys, just don't move. Okay.
It's a sketchy enough kick chase from
Everyone else out the
Northampton.
10.
Lucky that Ross went to the air because they were chasing in 1s and 2s.
Really good chase of his own kick from Atkinson to bring down Salakai Lotto. That ball is dangerous. And it's
Back to
been
his feet,
gathered up by
Salakai.
Proctor. Northampton for a moment, for a little flicker, looked really dangerous there, and then the loose pass.
A couple of big forwards out there, Launchbury, John Ryan defending together. If
Ball's out, ball is out.
Northampton can put some backs together.
They're keen to run, keep that ball in hand if they possibly can. Robson, though, gathering this on halfway. Little dab over the top and no way through, seemingly. Slight home
He chose to play him.
with the check.
That's a beautiful little chip from Robson and slide home. He just changed his angle.
It's the arm, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's slight contact, plays him without the ball, but doesn't tackle him or grab him.
No, he chose to get into his way, though, didn't he?
He actually doesn't really move.
It's a turnstile.
That was such a long time ago.
Just an instinct, isn't it? A flash instinct. And a chance now for Atkinson to bury this as deep as he can from that 22-metre line. Puts them within 5.
Yeah, thank you. On the line. Cheers.
12th consecutive start in the Premiership for Charlie Atkinson, really taking that number 10
guys.
shirt
Stay
now.
with you guys. Don't go until the arms are down.
Still only
Cheers,
21
guys, on the line.
and with a whole bundle of experience backed up behind him at this point. McDonald again in the air.
That's secure at the back with Ogre. Not really
That's
shifting
defended
anyway.
once. Inside the 5.
Robson has to come in.
Yeah, the centres are primed
Okay, use
to
it now.
launch themselves into this defensive line. It's got to be hard yards.
Mills it is, he had to gather that from a high position, just really stymied the flow, and they've made the
Number
most
8,
of that,
first man in over the
Northampton.
ball on his feet. Hold on.
Yeah,
Big by bigger.
Mills just doesn't get this where he wants it. He gets stuck inside shoulder, has to catch it high, and as a result, the defence are able to get a good body position.
How many?
I tell you, a little bit lucky
5.
because I don't know about the legality of the initial tacklers. The slide home is the one that goes in. He looks as though
Sam Graham was off his feet alongside him, wasn't he?
Salakai Lotto with line-out ball, bigger. Ludlam in the midfield, through the tackle of Atkinson and still making ground. Mitchell, Dingwall, and a mix-up with Proctor off the chest and back in the arms of the Wasps players. Kieran Curran goes to ground. Atkinson goes cross-field. Nizam Carr is out there, Adogwu chasing hard as well. Back goes Coles.
Yeah, it is a late hit by
Furbank.
13 White, back down just in the middle of the 10 and the 22.
And that's,
So
yeah,
13 White, late
I think it was
tackle.
Proctor actually. Just not happy with having spilt the ball. Just left a late one on Odendahl.
Just here, yeah.
That's what they've come back for.
Number 13, late tackle.
And he needs to get his arm up as well.
Yes, mate. Yeah, he's already passed it, Jack, I think.
Last
Yeah,
few
good point.
moments of this first half, Atkinson looking for some territory and decent field position for a final assault on the Saints line.
Well, how it started,
Line's yours, lads.
Wasps will be absolutely delighted. And if you want to know the difference, I think, between the two teams in this half, the forwards from Wasps have just been so much more energetic. Northampton, a little bit standoffish, not enough. We've seen a bit from Bigger and from Proctor, but just not enough grit at the moment from the Northampton pack, and Wasps are starting to take control there.
The line-out is a well-oiled machine at the moment through McDonald, and Robson's swinging it back to Nizam Carr. Robson on the loop and searching out space for Mills. For the moment, Dan Bigger hobbling back into position on that short side for Saints. In the meantime, Launchbury. Umanga for Dogwu. Well handled by Slightholm and held up with Proctor involved as well. Umanga, Hislop. Robson, Umanga again, Launchbury.
So Varney just for a knock on.
Knocked forward by
See what happens.
Northampton. Robson looking for the single bounce. Oh! Furbank had to be very careful there, and he was sharp. Atkinson takes it calmly. Not the easiest either.
Hold, guys.
There's only one in the backfield. If Freeman can identify, he's not going to hit grass.
Nicely skipped through. Mills, McDonald. Atkinson taking a bit of time as well now to get to his feet. Both 10s in the wars. Umanga.
Inside the half.
Robson.
Wait,
Freeman.
guys, you've got to wait. Okay.
I think his pack will want them to clear this off the field. This ball has been in play for quite some time. There's some tired bodies out there now. Good opportunities for outside backs if you get a mismatch.
Swung in field by Bigger to Furbank, who straightens through the challenge of Curran. Final minute of the half, Matavesi. Struggling for that gain line punch, aren't they, Northampton? Sam Graham, brought in this week for Joano Augustus, whose job is absolutely to provide them with front foot ball. Tip on from Salakai Lotta. They've made it to halfway. Painstaking progress though, and Bigger goes to the air.
Varney's
Comes,
knock on.
Robson, and doesn't look comfortable at all either. He's down.
Still playing
And
Varney's for the knock.
in some trouble. In the meantime, Bigger trying to create something all of his own. Tips it in field, picked up by Coles, clawed down by Carr, but the try is scored. And there you have it. Dan Bigger, with very few options seemingly, conjuring something from
we'll check
nothing.
that in the background
And Saints had their first try.
Well, it's Lazarus. Dan Biggar was really struggling with his back.
So when he dribbled it
Ball
forward,
comes
you
to
want
him.
make sure he didn't touch a Wasp player first.
The little chip through,
Okay.
and he's put everything on the line. I'm not sure it might be his last play for his team because he stayed down afterwards, still clutching that back. But it just becomes clear, and he puts it through, chases it, and gets it out of his hands so quickly, doesn't control it fully, but just palms it back inside. Had he not done that, I think Bassett would have hit him and potentially dislodged the ball. So can feel the defender, knows that he's had a little stumble. That is brilliant decision making under the ultimate pressure. It still took some finishing from Coles as well.
I think you have to understand the context of this as well, because you rightly point out, Ben, Dan Biggar was in a lot of pain before all of that.
Adam, the try is good.
He's provided for his team, and now he's needing some treatment, and he's a tough old boy. He doesn't go down in a hurry.
Well, he's got 10 minutes to get himself right, but he is a hardy boy. That was a magnificent piece of skill. He knew exactly what he had to do. He didn't quite get the control he was looking for when he was regathering it. He knew he didn't have a chance to grab it with both hands before offloading, so he batted it to the oncoming support.
Okay, time is on.
Brian made that point from a Wasp perspective. When Jacob Umanga had the ball, his forwards would have wanted him to get it off the pitch. Clock was red or nearly in the red, and they would be going in with a bigger lead than they're going to.
Speaking of red, there's a nice bit of claret coming from eyes and mouths, and
You can see the imprints at the bottom of the boot there, can't you?
Wide from Furbank, Biggar swiftly into the dressing room and on to the physio's table, you would suggest, for the next 10 or 15 minutes or so. But Saints back in the hunt here to some degree. Wasps stretching well clear through tries from Willis and a Dogwu, but a try from Coles, conjured by Biggar, means that Saints have a sniff. Half-time, Wasps 18, Northampton 11. So a couple of changes to tell you about from Wasps. Will Porter is with us. He's come on for Dan Robson at scrum half, and Joe Launchbury has been replaced by Tim Cardle in the second row. We told you that Launchbury had been struggling a little bit in the warm-up, seemed to be uncomfortable with his lower back. So Cardle in and Porter in. The good news from Northampton's perspective is that Dan Biggar has clearly received a little bit of treatment at half-time, and he is still on the field for Saints.
Okay, it's carried back in.
Important on every level. He has a remarkable pain threshold, Dan Biggar, as they break immediately here through Slightholme.
Oh, he's
3 men in the backfield. Slightholme has real gas, and he's going to put it on here to try to see off Umanga, but the ball will win the race.
He kicked it a fraction early because he backed himself with the wheels, knowing.
Just double check there.
First of all, look at that for a pass right on the advantage line. Is that Matavesi through that one?
50-22.
If he, okay, he's gotten to 50-22. I'm sure that's not what he was looking for.
He was clearly inside his own half.
But if he holds on to that for another 2 yards, commits the defensive line, in fairness to Umanga, he plays off, doesn't commit himself. But if that stays in the field of play, Umanga still wins the race.
So the 50-22 allowing for the line out, and it's claimed by Salakai Alotto, and Saints beginning the second half as they finished the first with real purpose and vigour.
Advantage.
Mitchell.
8 came out and then went back in the side.
Wall.
Number 8 side entry.
Flying out again, and they try to punch up the middle.
Advantage, all the way.
Playing with a penalty advantage. Salakai Alotto
To tackle, release!
is held by Berger Odendal. Graham upended. Furbank. Dingwall over the top from Slightholme, trying to free up Ludlam. Nowhere to go, no ground gained.
Alex, you got 2 options.
2 penalties.
Got one for
whether they want to kick
entry,
for the corner.
got one for not rolling away right in front of the post.
They're going to take the one bang in front of the post and take the 3 points, get that scoreboard rattling over again.
Yeah, just leave it. That was one. That'll do. Jack on the ball.
Sam Graham receiving some treatment to his left elbow. The decision is taken to go for the posts, and Graham, having been launched close to the line, is clearly in a fair bit of pain. Came through the Bath Academy. He's something of a new face to many Premiership watchers. Joanno Augustus, the man who would come on in his place potentially. Got an interesting backstory, Sam Graham. He's an accomplished chef, as we see the 3 points notched by Bigger. He was actually a chef at Penny Hill Park and used to sneak out to watch the England players training as he was trying to crack it in pro rugby. But they've been very impressed with him at Saints in these first few weeks of the season. And to have dislodged a man like Augustus from the number 8 shirt is testament to that.
Good guy to get involved in a come dine with me with him amongst your teammates. Go to yours first.
Carefully selected. Patched up.
I know. Well, the thing is, if you get
Arrived
out
at Northampton from Doncaster.
Otherwise, you're out.
And a pensive Phil Dowson, knowing that those 3 points will be precious. They might have had more, but the early pressure has been strong in this second half. Good serve from Bassett, and it's worked out nicely as they tear into the 22. Cardle with the tip on.
Who's out?
Porter, Atkinson, Umaga, Carr again, who's been a effervescent presence, hasn't he? He's been popping up all over the place, making important dents. John Ryan. Atkinson holds it back. Lovely delay on that pass from Mills, and Jack Willis is nearly away again. Picked up quickly by Porter, under pressure, but knocked forwards by Saints, so they have that advantage here, Wasps.
Scrum advantage. It's a scrum advantage.
Ryan again. Met well by Moon and Graham. And back we go.
Number 6.
Lots of options for Wasps again. Again, just the accuracy not quite there. We spoke about it before the game, but when they swept round to this open side, they had so many more numbers than the Northampton defensive line, and they were running angles to hold defenders. But as they go, the ball goes out the back, 2 players, and they get rid of all those defensive players. That gives Willis the momentum, but just in that crucial moment when you need ice cold, clinical finishing, can't quite come up with it. Good tackle coming in, but Porter will be disappointed that he got burgled there.
Set.
Straight down that one.
Big scrum this, with everything that's gone on over the last few weeks with Saints on their own 10 metres from their own line.
First one that's gone down on the set, let's sort it out.
Can't afford to give away a penalty here. It'll do them a huge amount of psychological good if they can get their exit right.
Don't preempt the set.
Porter to feed. You just think that Nizam Carr might be told just to hold it in for a fraction, see if anything creaks in front of them.
Bind. Set.
Carr from the base, Porter going left, Carr going right, space opening up for Mills. Porter again, swiftly onwards. Quick ruck speed here, and then driven back in the tackle by Dingwall. Another powerful move forwards, this time from his lot. Cardle waits.
This is where Wasps still need to keep their width. They've got wingers on the touchline at least, viable options for the crossfield It'll soften the midfield up a little.
They're making good ground here. Gray not too far away.
The ball strapped onto his own man.
Willis enveloped by 3 men. McDonald next up, trying to ride the challenge of another 3 tacklers, and Saints doing a good job at the moment of repelling these thrusts.
That's a tackle! Get out there! Let go!
Ogray with Ryan for company on the latch. Going nowhere seemingly. Porter now tries to open things up, and Mills trying to force a way through. And rewarded at the breakdown. Ludlam just about held his body weight for long enough to convince Adam Leal.
I'll keep marching unless you move.
A great battle between Willis and Ludlam coming here. Mills steps away from Willis. He's in trouble there, Ludlam, but it's a brilliant clear out on his opposite number. But then as they come back to the other side, Ludlam doesn't give up. First man in, straight over the ball. That hands in the air and flop over the top, which we see so many jacklers proficient at. He comes up with the big plate.
Sometimes there'll be confusion around the amount of bodies that are in there, but it's about the arriving player, who's first to get to the ruck. It's not those that have been in the tackle contest, it's who the first person arriving is, and that's why when there's loaded bodies in there, you'll hear some boos occasionally from the home support. But it was a very good decision from the referee and from the skipper.
Well, he's had to admit defeat, Dan Biggar, here. Reluctantly, really reluctantly, but he can barely move seemingly now. Courtnall Skosan is on in his place. That will prompt something of a reshuffle, so you'd expect Furbank to move to 10 at this point for Northampton. In the meantime, here's Atkinson.
Missed his touch, Furbank, didn't he?
Tackles by Wasps. Unlucky little knock on when you went to the gunner.
So a little knock on the deck, and Wasps will secure the possession. That is a hammer blow for Northampton, quite obviously.
Big discussion from the Wasps.
Just
back
wait
line.
for the calls, lads, okay? That's set, you're still just preempting it. So
What they're going to do. This tends to be, over the last few years really, Wasps' favourite place to attack from. They've always had a load of success from the middle of the field. Got that tight pairing, centre pairing, with Odendahl just edging to the front. Someone to slide in behind. Bassett hovering there as well.
Well, yeah, you're looking at an 8-9 here with Odendahl coming short. If the defence pushes off, you give it to him. If they stay tight, then you go out the back.
Atkinson, Odendahl provides the dummy line this time, and Umaga's in a little bit of space here. Held up by Slightholme, who goes straight back in to compete.
Counter-ruck.
Excellent counter-ruck. Slightholme who started it, and teammates who finished it, and Ludlam now has it for Northampton. Mitchell over the top.
Well spotted by Umaga. It was all important that he got up off the ground, got back into that spot where the scrum half is trying to find.
Great anticipation, and Odendahl is working it, and Bassett thought he was away. Instead, Northampton regained possession.
Still under scrum advantage.
It's on.
Swinging it wide through Proctor. Skosan. And now Freeman, who's going around the outside very effectively. Lovely pass off the deck as well. Driven on by Slightholme.
There are offside lines.
Game opening up really pleasingly. Salakai Alotto rumbles forwards. And once more, the breakdown. And once more, the breakdown master, Jack Willis.
Well, some brilliant play from both sides. I can't believe that ball didn't stick for Bassett, but when it came back to this side, just watch the line of Mitchell on your right-hand side of the screen, just cheating to get on a support line, but he means he's there immediately for the breakdown. But unfortunately for Saints, another turnover. They concede the most turnovers in the Premiership, averaging before this game 17 a game. The average for the Premiership as a whole is 12 a game. And if you play wide, it leaves you susceptible to poachers like Willis.
And the real brilliance of that was he was the tackler as well, and he got a good dunt, but it didn't let him knock him off what he was trying to do. He got really wide legs and then got it back in for a second nibble on it. More often than not, when you're running at really good, or you know there's good tacklers in a team, run at them, make them the tackler. Rarely are they able to tackle and get to their feet and steal possession like he did there.
I think, yeah, time's off, lads. We're making some subs.
Joanno Augustus
13 as well.
on in the back row for Northampton, so the chef makes way.
Step. We're inside.
And a change at loose head as well. Swap one Waller for the other, and Hutchinson is on for Proctor in the midfield. So 3 changes made by Phil Dowson.
Number 8.
Half an hour to play.
Northampton 8. I think he's coming here, yeah.
And Rory Hutchinson started the last couple.
Okay, thank you. Time back on.
Shorten the line out. Put Willis out in this wider channel here as an extra runner, but lots of options for Northampton to contend with.
Carter Porter, and now the ball held. And the Dogwu goes to ground. Umanga, lots of shapes being thrown here by Watts. A lovely line being cut as well. That one from Curran. Atkinson to Bassett. Ludlam leads the charge defensively. Porter, Atkinson, Mills.
That one needed to go out the back door.
Picked up quickly though, the ruck speed is strong, and so too the power of Ogre. Atkinson again. McDonald hits the deck, and Porter looking for the...
Has to be careful not to get isolated. One-off runners is not what they want to do. They want to make sure they get good support, because we've seen how many turnovers have been coming from both teams. Support players, you realise your players carrying into contact, got to be there super quick.
And the inside ball this time picked off by the new man Augustus and fired downfield, and no ground gained this time from Dingwall.
Talk about Northampton's free-flowing play. It's not, Wasps obviously free-flowing, but it's not the same style. Much more intricate with Wasps. So many different angles being run for defenders that they almost forces you to sit back on your heels. Lots of intricate passing, which I guess is one of the reasons why we're seeing a few more mistakes. Those difficult passes, very high pressure. But if they click, Wasps, and they start to get on a run of momentum, they will tear teams apart.
And that's the big thing. It's you kind of wonder in frustration sometimes, do they need to cut their cloth a little bit to keep a little bit more accuracy? But when they are good, they are supremely good.
So Kieran Curran is the man receiving some treatment at the moment, and any more disruption to that Wasp back row would be a very dispiriting thing. Let's have a word with Neil Fowkes, who's the Wasp scrum coach. Neil, your back row is obviously something of a concern at the moment, and disruption generally with injuries has been pretty extreme today.
Look, the way we train in the week, all the boys get their opportunities on the field, and we've trained with lots of different combinations. So look, we're not going to use that as an excuse. We're going to keep fighting as we are.
And as regards where we are in terms of the balance of power at the moment, it seems very open, very fluid. What's going to be key to closing this out?
It'll be the next collective action from both teams. You've seen there, Northampton have had a positive, we've had a positive. Northampton have had a positive, we've had a positive. It's the team that strings together 2 or 3 positive actions in a row that start to swing the momentum in this one. But at 27 minutes, there's still a lot of football to be played, and we're going to have to win this 2 or 3 times if we're going to come out on top.
And just a very brief word, Neil, on the brilliance of Jack Willis at the breakdown. I mean, it's been extraordinary today, yet again.
Yeah, he's superb, and what he does really well is he works well in a system with other boys, so other boys are in there doing their jobs and making sure that we stop these big runners and stop their momentum so he can get on the football.
Thanks so much for your time, Neil.
No problem, Ali. Thanks.
Target is set again for Wasps here. Porter distributing, and Odendahl fighting through contact.
The carries are really good and square at the moment. Just have to make sure they remain accurate with their clear-outs.
Atkinson throws the dummy. Moon is not having it this time. Nizam Carr stopped early. Tightly packed here, all except Josh Bassett hugging this left-hand touchline as they work it into that 5-metre channel with a Dogwu. O'Gray slam backwards. Salakai, Lotto and Ludlam very quick up onto that threat. Atkinson nicely from Umanga. Willis riding the challenges. Umanga, Atkinson once again running into trouble.
Tackle now!
Just a bit static on that one. It was a plant and pass. He needs to take it a bit more aggressively to the line to make sure that defence sits down, make them question who their man is.
A lot of earnest huff and puff. That had a suspicion of the forward pass about it, but on we go. Oh, great. Adogwu accelerates hard, makes good ground. Porter now for McDonald. Hard-earned meters these for Wasps at the moment. 15th phase of possession. Can they open the door somehow or other? Adogwu tumbling forwards and rolling towards the try line. O'Gray has it. Surely the score.
Yeah, I've got it on the line.
He's smiling at the referee. Yeah, it's
on
down.
the
Look,
on-field decision is try. I'm just checking. Just going to check you don't lose it in the contact.
what a play from Adogwu. Chopped.
Okay, Claire, coming to you.
Yes, Adam.
Eventually got the
In
ball
the
on the
tackle.
line, so my on-field decision is try. I just want to make sure he doesn't lose the ball in contact before he grounds it.
Okay, on-field decision try.
Spectacularly chopped in the tackle. Manages to roll, get back to his feet and drive for the line. Does really well to hold that ball, but not held, so he's entitled to carry on. Gets that fend out, nearly gets there himself, and then great awareness from O'Gray. Just want to check that there's no clear sight of the ball not being grounded. If it's purely that you can't see it, the try will stand.
See here because of the post, so I've got the ball on the line at that point, so.
There's just one more angle.
Well, I don't think there's too much debate about that. No. It was obviously given in the first instance by Adam Leal. That's his
Adam,
on-field
I've seen
decision.
all the angles. There's no compelling evidence to overturn your on-field decision. Stay with your try.
The voice of Claire Hodnett, our TMO, confirming Gabe O'Gray's try.
With the right post, this side.
Paolo loves it. And they now have 3.
Well, they had to go through so many phases of really good Northampton defence to break this line, but again, a good decoy line back against to hold the defender, just opening up a space that they can slide through with that inside ball to Adogwu, and he does a really good job of staying alive.
Yeah, it's really brilliant presentation from him. He puts it on a plate for his hooker. He could easily have tried to get a second movement there, a scramble to get the 5-pointer himself. He identified that he wasn't going to get there. That beautiful placement was all important to the score.
Here's Odendahl for Wasps, and McDonald stealing an extra metre or 2. Allo has come on for John Ryan on the Wasps tight head.
And we've been talking about this Wasps game plan and how they play. They are just missing one of their physical carriers, aren't they, to make that slightly easier in the first place, just to buy them a bit of time.
Carr, Umanga, space in the backfield, across comes Furbank.
Let him run.
Charlie Atkinson waits and skips clear and then straightens really well. He's a little bit isolated, big fend, drags it through via the boot. Can this work out for Bassett? What control! Bassett so close, they've got it anyway! Atkinson finishes everything that he started. That is a special, special try.
Wow.
Okay, clear.
They're just checking, they're going to have a little
Coming
look,
to
there's
your
nothing
offense,
untoward,
try.
but it's got to be on field. Look how he changes the ball in his hand as he's running, swapping from hand to hand so he can get the fens out. About 4 or 5 times as he's running, he does that. Keeps the ball alive, puts it on his foot. Bassett goes head to head. I don't think Bassett touched that. We'll have to look from the other angle, from behind probably, but look how he's changing the ball. Nothing wrong with that. But then, who does this touch? Is it Freeman first? Does Bassett get anything on it? This is the angle.
Nothing conclusive.
We'd have to slow it down even more, wouldn't we? See whose hand that was.
That's try
that's
time.
a try.
The skill, though, from Bassett at full tilt to nudge it back into the field of play that way, knowing that he was waiting for it to pop up and it didn't quite. He didn't quite get there.
Goal by Northampton, ball grounded by Wasps. Stay with your on-field decision.
Bonus time at the CBS Arena, and Charlie Atkinson, at the age of 21, getting bums off seats.
Yeah, where you are, it's fine.
And raising everybody here this afternoon with something out of the ordinary.
All right, thanks, cheers.
30 points to 14. Orgray and Atkinson within a couple of minutes of each other, and suddenly this match looks very different.
As I said, it's just his ability to keep the ball alive and change its placement in his hands without breaking stride. Constantly scanning with his eyes, seeing where the threats are coming from. And when things come off, feels pretty special.
This has found its way to Salakai Lotto, and Northampton looking to find a response quickly. That was brilliant from Coles. Furbank's line was excellent, and now there are opportunities on the outside, and Slidehome's in! Gallagher Premiership Rugby, ladies and gentlemen. This is what happens every single match, every single week. Slidehome for Northampton.
All started with a missed kickoff. Coaches go mad when you don't deal with your kickoff after scoring, and it costs Wasps hugely, but how well was this taken? The initial take as McDonald goes up, just bounces forward, and then the hands are really good. Everyone not taking too much space. Brilliant spin from Coles. And then the hands here, timing perfect.
Tries good, Adam.
Dingwall releasing Ollie Slightholme for a brilliant response from the Saints.
Sometimes from a defensive point of view, when you see 2 offloads of that quality, all you can do is say we tried our best, but they are really top quality at full tilt offloads that have so much penetration to them, and the accuracy of them is so clinical that it's nigh on impossible to do anything with that level of skill.
And that was a massive kick by Furbank as well. He's just nailed it, having Umanga just missed his, so just that psychological swing, huge for the Saints.
3 tries in 3 for Ollie Slightholme this season. Puff of the cheeks. There's still plenty to do, but my word, we've got a game on again as we head into the final quarter. Petch for Hill in that Saints front row, and Ribbons onto the field as well for Alex Moon. Furbank. Hutchinson using Dingwall. Salakai Lotto out of the back door, and a big tackle from Orgray on halfway. Freeman, Ludlam just hoping that he might have been able to squirrel that away. Salakai Lotto's left it behind. Picked up by Mitchell, but plenty of men onto him, not least Rodrigo Martinez, the new Wasps loose head. Argentinian international who joined last December and then immediately injured his Achilles.
Okay, use it.
Atkinson.
Great screening again from Wasps. You know, when there's a slow ruck like that, it gives them loads of time to set up their runners, although they've given away a penalty.
Clear lift on the ball and was preventing from grabbing.
Ludlam this time with a little bit of the Willis treatment.
Yeah, when you're taking 4 or 5 seconds and the referee's telling you to hurry up on a box kick, it does give those escort runners time to be able to pick exactly where they need to go to as the ball goes up in the air, but they couldn't get numbers back around to resource it well enough. Again, not enough body fight from the ball carrier. This guy has been something else today.
Open up, please.
Options here for Matavesi, picking out ribbons, his first Premiership outing of the season, and they're off again. Matavesi punching into the 22. Ribbons once more.
Tackle now.
Been at the heart of the Saints' challenge over the last couple of years under Chris Boyd, and now, of course,
Wasps have to be careful not to overfold. There's a bit of action happening down here, this blind side.
Dingwall, Skosan throws the dummy. Mitchell, Salakai Lotto, really good tackle, just stemming the flow.
Guess who? He has been outstanding in the loose today, Gabe O'Gray. We've talked about Willis at the breakdown, but when you've got that double threat, so difficult. What a great game, so finely balanced. Wasps looked like they were in massive trouble when Saints broke down the blind side.
And a try today, and a vital turnover just metres away from the try line.
Okay,
Could
Lewis.
that be
Thank you.
just another little swing of the pendulum in Wasps' favour?
With these two teams, 18 minutes, you think it's
There's
a
a
bit
lot of
long to
swinging.
hold out, isn't it?
Yeah. And Atkinson rather downcast at that clearance kick, only taking it a short distance beyond the 22. Don't worry, Charlie, you'll always have that try. It's not all bad.
Some more.
Cardle gathering it in, and Wasps putting the squeeze on here with the drive. Not seen too much of that today. Porter offset Bassett, and in comes Skosan. Salakai Lotto.
He's nowhere near the ball. He's not even part of the ruck.
Brian.
Yeah, you wonder, will Northampton rue a really great opportunity? Missed 2-on-1. Skosan not long on the field. It's Matavesi on the outside. He's got wheels. You got to square up, throw that pass. The cover might get there, but a man of that power with his wheels, you'd have to imagine he'd have gotten in for a 5-pointer and got them back within one score.
Skosan, who had a hat-trick against Saracens in the Premiership Cup just a handful of days ago, and of course had a rocky old time in that semi-final, didn't he, against Leicester last season. The ball just would not stick for him. But a South African international who might be having a little thought or two about that pass he didn't give just then. In the meantime, on halfway, or in fact just inside his own half, Jacob Umaga boomed one over from this sort of distance in the first half. And he's repeated the dose.
Are making amends for that misconversion, but brilliant result from Wasps. O'Gray wins the penalty on his own line. from the resulting line out. They set up a box kick to the air onto the halfway line. Ribbons gives away the penalty with Willis hovering to make the clear out. Ribbons guilty of driving too far past and through the ruck.
Tapped back that time by Skosan, and the Saints on the attack again, and this is Augustus. That was high. Penalty forthcoming. Freeman.
You got the advantage, Alex, okay?
Matavesi smuggles it away brilliantly. Salakai Lotto on the outside, dragged down from behind by Porter.
New advantage off feet. You're off your feet.
So a second advantage being played, and Petch rummaging onwards.
No advantage. You've got two options: high tackle by the replacement tight head, or off feet here.
I know you can score an awful lot of points in 15 minutes in this league, but it does feel as though this is going to need a 5 or 7 pointer to get them right back into.
That's you, yeah.
They had that penalty advantage, and it's funny how much freer you play when you know you've got an advantage to go back on. The passes tend to stick that little bit more.
Ribbons leaps for it for Northampton. Into the final quarter of an hour here.
Now anyway, both players are up. No one's lifting you.
I can't see Ribbons' legs there.
No one's lifting you.
All sorts of different postcodes. Mitchell, out it comes, crossfield kick from Furbank. Oh, it's beautifully on the money. Skosan! Oh dear!
It's a penalty try.
Time off.
I think that's going to be a penalty try.
Amag is in trouble too.
Yeah, so we're going to have to have a look at that. So
He tackles the man in the
Adam,
air.
come to the screen,
I
please.
just-
he definitely hasn't grounded the ball, so we've got no try. But what we need to look
It's
at
going
is
to be a
whether
red card then
15 is in
too.
a really realistic position
Well,
to contest
it depends how he
No,
lands,
he's
doesn't it?
not. Come to the screen.
If it is a penalty try, it's an automatic yellow card anyway. It's how he lands, whether he lands on his head or his top of his shoulders and above would be whether it's a red card.
Oh, gosh, it's marginal. You got to. That's
I
red
think he lands.
card.
Oh, I don't know. I
no,
think they'll go back.
No, the head hits enough of the ground here that.
Are you at the screen?
I'm going to go
Adam?
yellow.
Okay, I'm going to stick with
Lewis,
the fact he
But I would
hits
go.
him in the air.
He's caught it though, so it's a penalty try.
Adam, can
Even
you
though
see
he
the
doesn't
screen?
score, I think that's a penalty try.
yeah.
I think that
Okay,
is
Claire, just run the
unbelievably
first replay,
careless.
Real speed, please. So clearly not in a position to contest the ball. Tackles the man in the air. The player lands very dangerously. His head bounces. Those facts.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Adam.
So yeah, and he's caught the ball. So it's going to be because he catches the ball as well, and then he loses it forward. It's going to be a penalty try and a yellow card against which numbers was?
It's 15.
Sorry, red card. Sorry, penalty try and red card against 15.
Yes.
The officials rest with Ben Kay,
Penalty try.
and needless to say, both men still being treated at this point after a very
no worries.
unfortunate
Yeah.
incident. So
It's red
Jacob
card, penalty
Umanga's, well, the yellow card is the least of his concerns at the moment. Courtney Skosan happily sitting upright at least.
It's red card, penalty try. Red card, penalty try.
Oh, it's
Look,
got the red.
As Jacob's turn, he's already on him.
the decision's already
So I
made.
think it's
The
slightly
thing is,
mitigated.
no, he needs to be aware that the players.
Slapping the ball and then the player's there.
I understand your view, but it's pretty clear for us that he's not in a position to contest and he's landed very dangerously. Okay. Obviously, we want to make sure he's all right, but that would be the decision.
I think if there isn't a whiplash with his head hitting the ground and he lands on his shoulder, now it's unusual that you're going to have a situation where you're going to have the neck control to not have it whiplashed against the ground like that, but it's just the secondary action of the head hitting the ground. I just don't think that they had a choice in it. It's not far off being a yellow card, but I just think that secondary motion is too much and we've got to try and protect against it, and it is quite a loose challenge from Jacob Umaga, to be honest with you.
It's very dangerous, and that's what they've gone with. Perhaps gone are the days of where they look where you land and they just judge each landing on its merit, and it did look dangerous, but thankfully Skosan's back on his feet. Momanga done himself more damage than he's done to his opposite number.
There were a couple of red cards last season for Jacob Umanga, both for high tackles. This a different sort of scenario. And quite obviously concerned faces there for his health and for his well-being. Aside from matters disciplinary, they fade into insignificance, don't they, at times like these? Had to make a split-second decision, got it fractionally wrong. And of much greater concern will be his long-term health. Kurt Moscoso, I think quite understandably disappearing off for a head injury assessment, which seems to be the right and the sensible thing to do. And a lengthy old delay here. So in the meantime, just to mark your card, rugby tonight from 5:15 this afternoon in the company of Nick Easter, who of course was up until very recently part of the coaching staff with the Worcester Warriors. He will have plenty to say, you can be sure about that. BT Sport 1 that will follow this match here at the CBS Arena. Next Friday, we're up at the AJ Bell. Sale, unbeaten, remember, 4 from 4, taking on London Irish from 7 o'clock in the evening. And Saturday, another West Country derby after the thriller yesterday at the Rec between Gloucester and Bath. It's Gloucester and Bristol this time around, 2:30 on BT Sport 2, and then on Sunday to the Stoop and Harlequins against Leicester, who suffered a home defeat, remember, to the Sharks yesterday.
I'm not 100% sure. I think I might have just seen Will Hayden Wood coming on, so still not 100% sure what colour card's going to appear.
Have they taken somebody else off and brought him on?
Oh, Dogro's just walked off now, yeah.
A try and an assist and an excellent return for Paolo Adogwu.
Sorry,
He was close, wasn't he, to England selection just before his nasty knee injury. We know he's a sparky character, loves to play with a smile on his face, and my goodness me, he can move forward at a rate of knots, and tremendous power as well in those legs. Should we just have another little look at the Charlie Atkinson score? It was so good. I think it's worth another view.
Yeah, wait till you see this little blocker line from Jack Willis. Just holds his body position. I don't think the would-be tackler was going to get in, but that is a magnificent piece of skill from him after that little run, and then followed up by this beautiful control by Bassett. And well followed up from the man that made the initial break.
Positive news is Umanga's sitting up, he's now on his feet, still got an oxygen mask on him though. It looks like he's going to be able to walk off the field himself.
Okay. Turn back on, please. That player's been sent
Just a handful of those who have decided to get to their feet for Jacob Umanga, whose contribution today has been big for Wasps, but here a red card and a penalty try awarded to Northampton to put them within 5 points. And some 13 odd minutes still to play, so there are plenty of points to come, you would feel, given the way this game has broken up. Salakai Lotta lifted skywards. Northampton having to redouble their efforts. Sometimes difficult to regain that focus, that intensity after an injury break of that sort of length. Mitchell.
Well, that one's a bit long. He hasn't given his chasers much of an opportunity to get up and compete.
He's onside here. Okay. Put him
Mitchell
on,
again.
please.
Oh, that's a good kick, though. Centrally this time, identified that Wasps were covering the 2 touchlines, no one down the middle.
Will Hayden Wood
Wait, please. Okay,
threading it into that 5-metre channel where he finds only Freeman, and that's another excellent tackle from Ogre.
I think Ogre's moved into the back row because Dan Frost's come on. You can
Atkinson in the backfield as Northampton power onwards through Petch. And again, rewards at the breakdown. He's just relentless.
He's so crucial to them as well, particularly in moments like this when the backs are against the wall a bit, having lost a man. Just means you can afford to put less into defensive breakdowns. If he can go one-on-one and still come up with plays, means you can keep extra bodies on their feet. Interesting, that kick, the last kick that went down the middle, though. In the first half, we were seeing Nizam Carr stood in the backfield. He's had to go up into the defensive line now, so we might see some space in behind for Northampton to keep attacking with their kicking game.
He just saw Charlie Atkinson pull up a little lame after that kick. Apologies, I'm not sure it was Atkinson. It was yeah, it was Charlie Atkinson with the. There we go. That left calf causing him one or two difficulties, but he's looking to run it off here as they attack from
inside the 5 more.
15 metres out from the 22.
Yeah.
He's still bound. That's the state.
Decent drive on here as well.
That's once.
Ribbons trying to do all sorts of things illegally, and there's the penalty as a consequence. Porter pops it on its way to Frost, who gets leathered for his troubles by Augustus, but always with that advantage behind them.
19 side entry.
Last thing you want when you're running at Ioannou Augustus is the ball thrown at your knees. Really good little break here from Jack Willis. Just getting some good extra meters, and then just this little pop-up.
Let's go, please.
Just as Frost is working out how he's going to try and go head-to-head with the tackle. Ball in and around his shins.
So perhaps with that calf issue in mind, Will Hayden Wood is the man who's going to stick this into the corner for Wasps.
Good kick right on the 5.
Line for you, boys. Thank you.
Yeah, if you look at the most points conceded, Wasps down to 14 men, Wasps by a country mile, so they'll be very pleased to be doing a lot of their playing up in the opposition. 22, knowing that they've got a long way to go to concede points, averaging out 12 points.
Oh, and the line out has been stolen by Salakai Lotto. And Northampton
use it.
Digging in.
Inside the foot.
Furbank, oh, that's an interesting call. Might work out nicely here. Freeman, little nudge on. Back goes Porter, he's caught. Excellent chase from...
Oh, he didn't release. He didn't release.
I wasn't sure if he released, lads.
No, he didn't.
Adam Leal not entirely confident at that point, so in the meantime, Ogre for Wasps.
It's here, lads, it's here. It's here, and you're on top of it.
See that cross-field option from Northampton deep inside their 22. Furbank just deciding that there was little risk attached to it. And here he is claiming the high ball. Held by Carr.
Yeah.
And have they got enough arms onto that ball? I think they probably have.
They're up for a kick. In general play.
It actually happens week on week when you hear the crowd reaction. It's like this is a new law that's been brought in recent times.
It's very easily forgotten, isn't it?
Let's go, lads. Come on.
A baffled Nizam Carr, but he'll have figured it out by now. It's confusing, and Northampton will be relieved that that it is in existence, because they have to put into the scrum.
I'll tell you what's important from a Wasp point of view is that they remain playing positively. You know, they've played with ambition, they've had brilliant lines of running. They can't revert to type of just box kicking and trying to defend this lead, because you'd have to anticipate that Northampton will get at least one or two more opportunities that they can convert. You try and sit on a lead, play negatively, eventually you get caught up with them.
Slightly out of this.
Particularly when they've been as effective in what they've done so far.
Wait for him to get it.
The only thing I would say by way of reference to that, Brian, is that of the teams that do adopt this sort of policy inside the Gallagher Premiership, there isn't a great deal of innate conservatism when it comes to shutting games down. They do just tend to keep at it.
Saw that in the first half, didn't they?
Okay.
And they had a chance to kick the ball out.
Time on.
He's controlled things well today as well.
Come on,
Nice
lads, let's go.
variety.
Form up.
You know, nice balance between how much he's run with the ball, when he's kicked it. You know, his passing's been very accurate. I've been impressed with him.
It's the tank! It's the tank! It's the tank! Tank!
Crowd!
That's a great launch position.
Bind.
You know, perfect where you have to
Set.
treat the backfield from a Wasp perspective. Northampton on that left-hand side.
Mitchell from the base. Hutchinson holding it back beautifully. Lovely lines of running here for Northampton. Freeman on the march. Here goes Proctor, crashing into the 22. Brought down by Hayden Wood, but the ball recycled quickly and just in behind Ethan Waller. It's gone forwards.
He was gone.
Just a scrum advantage. Always
And
inside.
Atkinson
Advantage over.
fires it away and gets a decent touch this
Still
time.
alive.
When you're a man down in the
Still alive.
defensive line, you want your 7 to be able to get off quickly, to be that extra number. Just watch what happens to Jack
Okay,
Willis here.
marked.
He gets held in
Marked.
there by his opposite number, Ludlam, just doing enough to prevent him getting out into the defensive line. As a result, you can see him struggling to get back across, not his usual dynamic self at the breakdown.
The burst here from Hutchinson to the 10-metre line. Mitchell's beginning to cause a few problems now as well, wriggling onwards.
Still in, still in.
6.5 minutes to salvage this. Northampton penalty. Wasps.
You can't just play it off the ground.
I thought they were very
Initial
lucky.
pop is fine. That's a late pop off the ground because no one's come in.
I thought Wasps were very lucky there. It looked as though there was some very lazy
Nah, the ball came out.
players on the
What happened
ground
outside.
slowing the ball down, but the referee allowed them to play it and then penalised the team in attack. Understandably, you just can't be lying on the
Yeah,
ground.
please, let's
Maybe
go.
within a
Keep it
second or
going.
two, but not after 4 or 5 seconds. No referee's going to let you away with that.
And these precious field
I never
positions.
mind a little pop off the ground. Keep it dynamic.
How many more times are they going to
Those
be able to
really
work
slow
their
ball,
way
you
into
haven't
those sorts of
resourced it well
positions
enough,
now
and
with
then throw it off the
just
ground.
6
Well, I
minutes
thought-
remaining? Wasps are going to just try and draw the sting here a little bit. Walking very, very slowly into position for the line out.
Interesting. Frost going out into that position as a ball carrier in the wide channel. O'Gray throwing it in.
O'Gray. Nearly wasn't strike, was it? Yeah,
Do your
it
mark.
was tight and it's been allowed.
Yeah, don't change.
Trying to take the energy out of
In there.
some of
That's
these
once
Saints forwards
sideways.
with a little nudge. Porter, though, using Frost. Nizam Carr once more,
Yeah. It's all right, it's
still
up.
going
It's
strong
up.
in the 76th minute. Squeezed back by McDonald. Frost
That's
again,
good.
full of
Oh.
energy, full of life, and the ball ending up with Hutchinson. And where's he off to? He's going left, he's going right, and in the end he's being flattened. Wasps have the penalty that might just see them home from here. Indecision from Hutchinson in the backfield. Dan Frost, so influential in the last minute or so.
Brilliant from Frost, gets the offload away, but look at the read from Hutchinson, does everything, but then he just can't find a way to get out of the traffic. Stays alive for as long as he can, but considering how long he's dancing around there,
I know in games like
Saints
this, there's emotion
really slow
sometimes,
to get behind him,
but
get
we've got
bodies
duties to
behind
keep
him, and
those
as a
in the game.
result,
Please don't
panic
shout.
and go off their
Yes, go
feet.
ahead, thank you.
And they nearly lift Frost onto their shoulders as though he's won them the game.
Okay, 1 minute for the kick, but you've already been. It's already
Well,
not
he's-
a goal.
Just the kind of player who can inject
I don't know the exact
real
time.
dynamism into proceedings. And that's what he's managed to do off the bench here today. It's provided Will Hayden Wood with this very straightforward penalty attempt, which of course would take Wasps 8 clear, and that would deny Northampton the losing bonus point, which they currently have.
You've got 9 seconds.
Three added, and 3 minutes for Saints to come up with something.
Discipline that's killing Saints at the moment, isn't it? 17 penalties to 12.
Yeah, he's coming over.
Skosan back with us, having passed his head injury assessment.
Yeah, Saints have to try and get something out of this game. Been in it for too long to come away with nothing.
It's been spilt by McDonald. It's here now for Northampton. Ribbons using Coles. A little bit of patience here and some clinical execution. All kinds of things might be possible. 3 tries, of course, to their name. So another one would give them the losing bonus and the try bonus. Furbank. Ball dislodged, but backwards. Ethan Waller.
Oh, they've got to work them the same way. I know there's tired bodies out there now, but they can't go zigzagging.
Freeman, lovely line from him. It's off the fingertips, picked up by Augustus. He's close. He's 5 metres out. Mitchell, Coles. Northampton fighting to the last. That's the try bonus. It's also the losing bonus. And the conversion relatively straightforward, will put them to within 1.
It's also irrelevant. You know, they could take it quickly or not take it at all. They've got another score or even a penalty of the ensuing play.
Adam,
This should be a really quick penalty. Don't be eating up any seconds with 90 to go.
It's been checked. It's been checked. Thank you.
It's clearly
Wasps
played
just
backwards
asking
by
to
Wasps.
check that last pass, I think. Not sure you'll see Wasps going that quickly back to the halfway line.
Rory Hutchinson taking his time and tucks it through the middle. 1 point the difference. Less than 1 minute remaining, and a very slow, weary trudge back into position by the home side here. They are in no hurry whatsoever.
Nothing silly makes it.
Anyone nervous in here today?
Biggest noise of the afternoon, arguably. Is there a final twist? Atkinson sends it long. Freeman for Augustus, who has definitely had an impact off the bench. He really has been busting some important holes.
I didn't see the lift, sorry.
And there's space here. Slight home for a moment clear. Waller, quick transfer of the ball. Northampton so good in this mode. Coles again, looking to link up. Outskirts of the 22, Mitchell. Do they have the belief? Have they got the power? Ribbons is showing plenty of that. In goes Mitchell. Furbank. Hutchinson. Freeman. Skosan turns it on. Fires in. This league is bonkers. Northampton have stolen it. The Wasps players are completely stunned. They've led the whole way through this match, the whole way. And in the 81st minute, the Saints have undone them.
If there's anyone, any team in the league you're nervous about going from their own line, the length of the field, and playing wide, it's this Northampton Saints team. Great carry in the wide channel, and they don't panic. The fact they don't score, big collision from Ribbons, doesn't separate his arm from his chest, so that's fine. And then it's about preserving the space in the wide channels. Long ball straight to Skosan, back his pace, and he goes in the corner. What a finish, and what a finish to this game.
from one end of the pitch to the other in 4 phases. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And Phil Dowson is completely unmoved. What about that? Extraordinary. Utterly extraordinary. The kick is irrelevant. Hutchinson fires it wide. Courtnall-Skostan is down with a little word of thanks, and you can understand why. Northampton looked dead and buried at various different moments through this contest. A shake of the head from Jack Willis, whose performance was gargantuan. But Northampton snatching it with 2 late tries in the 79th and the 81st minute. A stunning win. Wasps 36, Northampton 40 at full time.
Well, this, as you said, Ali, this league has just been completely crazy. And it's so difficult to pick out the player of the match because so many had a big influence on Northampton getting back into the game. You mentioned Johanna Augustuson's shot there. I thought a lot of the subs that came on made a difference. Ribbon's big carry. Thought Ludlam was absolutely supreme at times during the game, but my man of the match for that little bit of spark and that drive, particularly when Dan Biggar went off, is Ollie Slightholme. He's our Gallagher Premiership Player of the Match.
Well, we can all take a breath at this point. It's been stunning drama. What else would you expect on a Sunday afternoon in this league? It is delivering in spades week in and week out.